Okay, guys, so we are going to be doing our math. We are continuing with our unit fractions, compose and decompose fractions. Remember, compose means where we are joining together, and decompose is where we're pulling them apart. So think about it as compose is adding and decomposing as subtraction. So you need your handout that looks like this. I know there's a lot of boxes, there's a lot of things going on. We're going to do a lot of this together, and then I will have you do one or two on your own. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at some scenario cards. We're going to be modeling, finding the fraction of the whole, the unit fraction, and then writing an equation to match. So our first one is called excellent units. It says, that name, Solange picked up half a dozen eggs from her local farm. Each egg represents one part of the whole carton. On your dry erase board, draw a model of the egg carton and label the fraction of the carton each egg represents. Write a numerical equation that represents the whole carton. So we don't have a dry erase board. We have our actual paper, and this is where we're going to draw our egg carton. So kind of look at this picture down here. So it says half a dozen. Okay. So where's my highlighter? So half a dozen, if we don't know, first off, you need to know how many is in a dozen. So how many are in a dozen? So a dozen is 12. Okay, so half a dozen. So a dozen equals 12 eggs, or 12 of, it doesn't have to be eggs. It could be cars, a dozen cookies. So half a dozen would be half of 12. So what would be half of 12? 6. Okay, so she has 6 eggs. So right over here, I'm going to draw a carton. Just going to draw a square. And I'm going to show that I have 6 eggs in a carton. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it says label each egg with the fraction it represents. So we talked about this on Friday. So each one of these would be 1/6 because it's like there's 6 parts. So this is 1/6. This is 1/6. This is 1/6. This is 1/6. This is 1/6, and this is 1/6. Okay. So if I wanted to know the fraction of the whole carton of eggs, well, we know my denominator is going to be 6 because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal parts. And I know my numerator is going to be 6 because I have 6 eggs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now, unit fraction of each egg. So if I just want to know what each egg is, so say I just want to know what this unit is, it would be 1/6. Okay. Because if I were to take one of these eggs, it'd be 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6. So remember, your unit fraction is one part of your whole. Okay. Now, where it says numerical equation for the whole carton of eggs. So if I wanted to add all of these together to get an equation, that means I would say 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 equals, because what I'm doing is I'm counting all of my eggs and adding them up, and that gives me, so let's talk about this. When we're adding fractions, I add they all have the same denominator. So look at that, they all have the same denominator. So I know my denominator is going to be 6, and I'm going to go and count the top. So I have 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. That would give me 6. So 1 6 plus 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 1 6 equals 6 6. So all I did was add this all together. Okay, so there's a challenge on here. It says Salonia wants to make a recipe that needs 4 eggs. I'm only going to use 4 eggs. Write the numerical equation that represents the fraction of eggs she will use from the carton. So out of this carton, she only wants to use 4. Okay. So I'm going to get a different color and I'm going to color in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to say 1 6 plus 1 6 plus, my pen's running out of ink, plus 1 6 plus 1 6 equals. So all I did was I took these 4 eggs So I'm going to say 1 6 plus 1 6 plus 1 6 plus 1 6 because there's 4. And so we know that our denominator's the same. So I'm going to do 6 and then I'm going to count the tops 1 2 3 4. So 4 6. And my pen is not working. So it is 4 6. Okay. Make sure you have that written down and we're going to move on to the next one. Okay. Let's go to the next one. So this one says racing to the hole. So this one's called racing to the hole. So here is our scenario. Each of you is participating in the town's miniature car race. To win, you must complete 2 laps around your track. The laps will be complete by pulling your car with a magnet around the track twice. Since there are 2 tracks, you and your partner can race at the same time. On your dry erase board, draw a model of each lap and label the fraction of the race that each lap represents. Write a numerical expression that represents all the laps in the race. So it's telling us to win, we must complete 2 laps. So let's go to our paper. And over here, we're going to draw 2 laps. And I'm just going to draw, you know, racetracks are ovals. So I'm going to draw 2 ovals. Okay. And so my fraction is, I need to draw those darker. Get a marker. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So these represent 2. So I have 2. So when we're talking about if I have 2 pieces, that's halves. Okay. So this is half and this is half. Okay. So my fraction of the total laps, I have 2 out of 2 laps. So I have 2 laps out of 2 Okay. My unit fraction is half. Because if I just want to know one of these, if I just want to talk about one of these, it's half. Okay. Now I want to write a numerical equation that represents the whole race. So I have 1 lap plus 1 lap. So half plus half equals, my denominator is 2, so that stays the same. And I'm going to add the top. 1 plus 1 is 2. So basically, guys, what I'm doing is I'm taking each unit fraction and I'm adding them together. Okay. Let's do another one on our own. Dunking units. So here's this one. The fair is in town and one of your favorite games is the ball toss. In order to win a prize, you must stand at the start line and toss 3 balls into a basket. On a dry erase board, draw a model of the balls and label each ball with the fraction of the basket that must be made to win a prize. Write a numerical equation that represents the total number of balls you must get in the basket to win. So we have to get 3 balls into the basket to win. Okay. So I'm going to draw my picture. So I'm going to draw 3 balls. 1, 2, 3. Now, there are 3 of them. So these are thirds. So this is 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. Okay. So the fraction of all the balls needed to be tossed. So I have 1, 2, 3. I have 3 thirds because there are 3 parts and they're thirds. The unit fraction of each ball is 1/3. Now, if I wanted to show an equation for this, I'm just going to take these and add them together. So I'm going to say 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 equals, my denominators are the same. So that's going to stay 3. I'm going to add the top, my numerators. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. Okay, so let's look at the challenge. Write a numerical equation showing what fraction of the balls you made into the basket. It says, write the label each ball. We're not going to do that challenge question. We're going to mark that one out. Okay. Let's do one more together and then I'm going to have you do the last one on your own. So I want a pizza that. There is a new restaurant that lets you put toppings on a pizza by the slice. You and your friends put different toppings on each of the 8 slices on your pizza. On a dry erase board, draw a model of the pizza and label the fraction of each pizza slice represents. Write a numerical equation that proves how all slices put together make a whole. So we have 8 slices. So I'm actually going to draw a pizza. And I'm going to divide it into 8 pieces. Okay. Now, each one of these slices represents, there's 8 pieces, so 1/8. Okay. Now, if I want to know how many this whole thing has, it's 8 eighths because there's 8 slices that make up the whole. My 1 unit fraction, if I wanted just to talk about one of these, is 1/8. So I want to add all of these together. I want to say 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8. I need to do it 8 times. Plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 would give me, all of the denominators are the same. I'm going to count my numerators. I'm going to add my numerators. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7, plus 1 is 8. Okay, I'm not going to worry about the challenge. Okay, so what I want you to do is you're going to do number 5 on your own. Okay, now you're not going to do the challenge part. I'm not worried about the challenge part, so I'm going to mark this part out. So it says, Dr. Kim is stuck at work later than usual. She wants a snack from the vending machine, which only takes quarters. She's got 4 $1 bills in her pocket. Exchange one of her bills. She exchanges one of her dollars for quarters. Lay out the amount of quarters her dollar is exchanged for on your dry erase board. And write the fraction of the dollar each quarter is worth. Write a numerical equation that represents the whole dollar. Okay, so she has $1 for, she exchanges $1 for quarters. So the first thing you need to know is how many quarters make a dollar? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 quarters is what she has. So I want you to go ahead. Here's your picture. I want you to label each quarter with the fraction and then fill out this information over here and then upload it so I can check it. All right, guys.